Good morning, everybody. This isn't just radio. This is Facebook, and this is YouTube. So you heard my introduction. My voice is a little raspy this morning. Pardon me. Unfortunately, I have two other sets of vocal cords in the studio, and pretty soon I'll have three. We've got Rick Kearney, who is our certified diagnostic master technician. We've got Nancy Stewart, of course, who's my co-host. And we got you. We got thousands of vocal cords out there, and we'd rather have your vocal cords than my vocal cords anytime. We've often been told by some people, in fact, even ChatGPT, that we give the phone number out too often. And what ChatGPT doesn't understand, as smart as he is, he's not as good on a 2-hour radio show as we are, yet he will be, and he'll be better. But folks tune in and tune out. You might listen for 5 minutes, and that's it. We're on for 2 hours, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you folks listening right now probably won't be listening in 15 minutes. So if you don't hear this number, 877 960 9960. 877 960 9960. Well, you won't know who to call, where to call, and what it's all about. Nancy Stewart, sitting right across the studio from me, has got a laptop computer, and when you call, she'll wave at me and throw a brick at me if she has to get my attention, and we will answer the phone. Got 5 lines, and sometimes they fill up, sometimes they don't. So you folks that do listen for more time, like a half hour or an hour, maybe, and you hear this coming at you, 877 960 9960. 877 960 99. Hey, forgive us, because somebody is going to tune in a few minutes and they want to call the show. You are the lifeblood of the show. You're out there buying cars, servicing cars, having your cars repaired in collision centers, and you're being taken advantage of. I mean, if you're on planet Earth, you know what car dealers are doing. And the reins are tightening on the car dealers. And you regular listeners know that. Federal Trade Commission is taking some action. Of course, they've been taking action for a long time, and nothing's been done. But we are optimistic that it will be. And you got to be optimistic. So please call the show at 877 960 9960. And now I'm going to introduce Nancy Stewart, my co-host. And she is a one woman in the studio here. When you include all of us, there's 4 guys and 1 gal. And that's not the way life should be. There should be half females and half males. That's a good balance. So we want half of our listeners and callers, at least, to be female. And Nancy Stewart is here to make that happen. In fact, she's really already made it happen. But we have to make it happen every week. She's got a special offer she'll tell you about, plus some other stuff. So I'm going to turn the microphone over now to Nancy Stewart, my co-host, and the love of my life.
You make me laugh in a very good way. Throw a brick at you? I guess that's why they call this an action-packed show.
Yeah.
Okay, folks. As Earl said, 877-960-9960. Whether ChatGPT likes it or not, we do need to repeat that number because, as we know, people tune in and they tune out. So if they didn't write the number down when Earl said it several times, I said it, I'll say it again, 877-960-9960. And as Earl said, we have Rick, we have Iggy, me, Earl, and Stu will be in around 9, I believe, close to that.
Yeah.
And he shares a lot of knowledge with us in that short period of time and provides us with the Mystery Shopping Report. Ladies, for you this morning, a lovely gift, a very nice gift, and that's $50. An Amazon gift card for $50 for the first 2 new lady callers. So take advantage of that. We need your support to build this platform for the ladies. And I have a fun thing subject to share with you. It's well, I'll just say it. Here's something fun to think about, and it is really a lot of fun. A baby born today will be 18 years old in 2044. And why are we even mentioning that? Because he or she may never need to drive a car. Have you thought about that? What do you think?
Scares the hell out of me. I mean, I'm a car dealer, right?
Exactly. What do you think, Rick?
I'm a mechanic. There's always going to be cars out there for me to work on.
You think so?
Well, that's true.
Okay, well, that's Rick's opinion.
Yeah.
What's your opinion?
But there's still horses out there.
You're right about that. That's a good point.
As a matter of fact, I live in an area of Lake Worth,
How many
right near
blacksmiths do
Wellington.
you know?
And, well, I see a lot of farriers out there, driving around, guys that shoe horses. So, sorry,
How many blacksmiths do you know?
only ones from that TV show Forged on
But
Fire.
you know a lot more
And
mechanics
yeah.
than you do blacksmiths, yeah.
Well, because there's a lot more cars left out there than horses. But
Which would you rather work on?
well, the horses actually smell better than some of the cars.
And you should know, as many years as you've been, in this crazy business.
Oh, I've seen some sights. That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly. Again, that number is 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. And our text number is 772-497-6530. Don't forget your anonymousfeedback.com. We have our mystery shop that will be coming up about 9:30. And I believe it's from Stuart. And it's... my memory serves me right, Johnson.
Stuart, Florida. A lot of people listening to the show aren't familiar with the geography in Florida, but we're talking to 49, 50 states, probably Hawaii, make it 50. And Stuart, Florida is in South Florida, just north of West Palm Beach.
That dealership that we shopped was Johnson. That's Johnson Honda. Johnson Honda in Stuart. Again, that number is 877-960-9960. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Well, I forgot to mention this in my opening words, but Nancy and I talk about this every time we drive to the show on Saturdays. What excites us is the exotic, autonomous, and the electric vehicles, and all that kind of stuff. But we have to keep slapping ourselves in the face and say, wait a minute. Most people out there are driving a combustion engine or hybrid, which is a combustion engine and battery vehicle. And most people still have transmissions and engines and all that kind of stuff. And most people are still going in to independent repair services, mechanics, dealerships to get their car fixed. And they got to talk to guys like Rick Kearney. Well, Rick, the cool thing about Rick Kearney, who's a regular part of this show, is that he works in a dealership. He knows what happens, but he's like on your side now, like I am and Nancy. The three of us, I guess the dealers call us turncoats. We betrayed them. We went from what we do to helping the enemy. They look at you, car dealers, as the enemy. It becomes you're the opposition. When you walk into a showroom or into a service department, they see ka-ching. It's like the cash register ring. How much money can we extract from this rolling cash register. We are the Consumer Advocacy Show. So, back to Rick Kearney. He's been fixing cars for a long, long time. And he's been fixing the current models and the older models. And if you're thinking about bringing your car in for service or maintenance, save yourself a lot of money, folks. Call 877-960-9960 and ask for Rick Kearney. Because all you have to do is tell Rick what you would tell the guy in the service drive when you drive into that dealership. Tell him what's wrong with your car. Tell him what you think is wrong with it. And instead of trying to sell you something you don't need, if you call 877-960-9960, Rick will tell you, well, he probably ask you first, what about this, what about that? And he'll get some information. He'll say, maybe you don't have a problem at all. That's normal. Or if you want to stop the noise, you can do that. It won't cost you anything. Or if you need this, you can buy it here. That'll cost you very little. You'd be surprised how happy he can make people that call the show when they're worried to death about a problem with their car. 877-960-9960. I don't know what it is. Rick probably remembers. Rick, what is probably, you've been doing this for a lot of years, what's the most common problem people, when they call you, what is the most common problem they're talking about?
I would say the most common thing is, what the heck is that weird noise I'm hearing going down the road?
Yeah, driving down the road.
Or what is this warning light on my dash?
Yeah.
It seems like the warning lights and those weird noises, and it's the craziest thing is, folks get so in tune with their car because they're driving these cars for hours each day. They know every little squeak and rattle. They know what's normal. And when they hear something that isn't really normal to them, they get curious about it. They're wondering what in the world is going on here. And when you come into a mechanic and you just say, well, I've got this noise, and you try to describe it, and the mechanic gets in your car and goes for a drive, comes back, says, yeah, I don't find anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's one thing that I learned through over 30 years now. Ask the mechanic to ride with you. Don't take them out on 995 for 2 hours, but, go for a short drive and show them the noise. Say, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how many people are hearing impaired? In this studio, Nancy and I are both hearing impaired. We wear hearing aids. And you go into a typical dealership, independent repair store, what percent of the mechanics are deaf? And they're going to listen for that noise when they drive the car.
When you hit my age, yeah, because nowadays it's all electric impact guns, so they're super quiet. But I was in the era of those air impact guns, and
God.
Even with hearing protection, I've got tinnitus now that just rings continuous, and my ears are busted up and destroyed, and it's just a fact of life of that many years in a hard environment. But yeah, I have a hard time sometimes hearing those little noises.
Yeah.
And that's why I tell the customer, point it out to me, show me, because I actually had one car that I thought I heard the noise the customer wanted me to look for. I spent 2 hours driving this car, narrowing it down, found this squeak noise, fixed it, and the customer says, no, it's still there. And I go for a ride, and it's a completely different sound, and it just happened to be a normal thing where it was their mud flap actually flapping in the breeze a little bit.
Yeah.
And it just at odd times. But
yeah, get a free diagnosis. Get a free diagnosis right now. Call 877-960-9960 or go to youtube.com/Earl on Cars. And Rick monitors YouTube, by the way. So youtube.com/Earl on Cars. And remember, if you take the car in to a technician, mechanic, or whatever you want to call them, and you have an issue that is either something, you feel something, you smell something, you see something, I guess you could even taste something sometimes. Whatever it is, road test the car with the technician that will be fixing the car. if a service salesman road tests the car with you, that's okay. But it's even better, much better, to have the technician who will actually work on the car road test the car. Then you can say, that's it. Did you feel that? And if he said yes, now you're halfway home. And then the second half of that, road test the car when you pick it up. They call you, they say it's fixed, I'll pay the bill. Before you pay the bill, before you say thank you, road test it a second time. You know, if people did that, Rick, I think you would agree, there'd be very few complaints.
The satisfaction level would go way, way up.
We're going to switch gears for a moment. We'll get back to Rick. I have a particular question for him, but we are going to go to my X screen, and I see here where we have a few callers. We're going to talk to Barry, and Barry calls us from Tampa. He's a regular caller. Good morning, Good morning, Barry.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
You recommended on several occasions that car buyers not reveal that they intend to pay cash during price negotiations. The reason is that the sales team may not offer the best price if they know they're going to miss out on the profit from financing the car. But what about when a finance incentive is involved, especially an advertised one? Some car buying advisors recommend to go ahead and finance the car with the dealer, maybe put a lot of cash down, get a long enough term to avoid prepayment penalties, and then you turn around and pay off the loan as soon as possible, thereby minimizing the interest and essentially paying cash after all.
Well, you have to be careful. You have to be careful because all lenders have a prepayment penalty. And if you pay a car off early, the prepayment penalty can wipe out the advantage that you would experience had you financed it to the end of the offer.
It's my understanding, though, if you get a loan that's 60 months or longer, by federal law, there can't be a prepayment penalty. Am I misunderstanding that?
I didn't know that, but we'll certainly check that out on ChatGPT. Is this a federal law or is this a state law? Check that out for me, will you?
Federal law.
Yeah, we'll check that out.
Longer than 60 months.
60 months. So you're saying that on a loan over 60 months, federal law allows the lender to charge no prepayment penalty. We'll we're checking it out as we speak. What else do you have on your mind?
Well, so it seems like, if that's the way you have to do it, it seems like a silly game you have to play. And I would think that the dealers would have some kind of a defense against it. Is there a better way to pay cash than going through all those hoops?
Well, most loans are 60 months or less. Unfortunately, we're seeing more 72 and even 84 now. But I would hazard a guess that probably 60 or 70% of the loans are less than 72 months. So are prepayment penalties on most loans, especially those that are subsidized by the manufacturer. Rick, did you get an answer?
Yep. Coming straight from the AI, it says, yes, law permits lenders to charge prepayment penalties on certain loans if they are disclosed in the contract and abide by federal or state regulations. These penalties often applied within the first 3 to 5 years of a mortgage or on non-conforming loans. And let's see, the Dodd-Frank Act limits prepayment penalties to the first 3 years and caps them typically at 1 to 2% of the principal. Generally, prepayment penalties are prohibited on FHA, VA, USDA, and most conventional loans. Permitted loans are often allowed on commercial loans, non-conforming loans, and sometimes in specific state laws for private residential loans.
Yeah, that's more than we need to know. But what it basically says is there are limitations on prepayment loans, but there is no prohibition on a car loan on 60 months or greater. There are limitations on them. But the key is if you are going to take advantage of the subsidy that a lender gives you on a subsidized loan, and then you pay it off in the first 3 or 4 years, you're going to get hit with a big fat prepayment penalty.
Okay. So in a kind of along similar lines, if they're being offered a 0% loan, is that basically a red flag that you're not going to get a very good price on the car?
Well, they're just not necessarily. The 0% is coming from the manufacturer. It doesn't affect the dealer. So the dealer may try to hold more profit, knowing you're benefiting considerably from that 0%. But if you're a good negotiator, you should be able to negotiate as good price reduction and have your 0% too. Now, the lender will often vary their discount with a 0%. In fact, typically we'll say, okay, you can have a 0% loan or $1,000 discount from the manufacturer, but that does not affect the dealer discount.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. That's what I had in my mind today.
You're very welcome. Good questions. Rick has a point
Yeah.
you might want to listen to.
I narrowed it down a little more and found lenders can legally charge prepayment penalties on car loans in 36 states and Washington, D.C., but generally only for loan terms of 60 months or less, and federal law prohibits these penalties on longer-term loans of 61 months or more.
So 36 states. And that probably, you're in Tampa, so that could be, well, I ask if it's valid, if that applies in Florida, in which case you are right. In Florida, it must be prohibited, one of the 36 states.
Yeah,
Looking
well,
for that right
if
now.
federal law says 60 months, then you should be safe
Yeah.
anywhere. If it's in your intention from the get-go to pay it off right away, then why wouldn't you just get the long loan?
You would if the manufacturer offered that 60 months. Typically, they don't offer 60 months subsidized loans, but they probably could. And if they did, you're absolutely right.
Okay. All right.
Good point. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Barry.
much.
And apparently, Florida prepayment loans are generally not prohibited by Florida statute. So if it's in that contract, you may want to look close for that.
Yeah, you got that, Barry. Florida's not one of those 36 states that prohibits it. He's off the line now. Yeah.
Okay. Rick, I have a question for you. This past week, I received a few emails from the ladies, and the question that was asked more than once was this: what's the one thing women are most often told to fix on their car that they really don't need?
Fluid flushes. Things like
What is it?
fluid flushes,
Okay.
transmission flush, coolant flush, injector flushes, EFIA, which are electronic fuel injection additives that they'll put in the tank. It's a lot of that is snake oil. They tell you, oh yeah, you need this additive to prevent carbon buildup. You need this to make your car better, and they get a bottle that it costs them like $1, maybe $2 for this bottle of additive that they put into your fuel tank, and they charge you labor just to open the cap and dump it in. Mm-hmm. And it really doesn't do much of anything.
They call that a flush when they just add the liquid?
Some places actually do call that. Others will say, no, it's an additive. Others will do what's called a flush where, and this is legitimate in some cases, when the car has an issue with carbon buildup, severe carbon buildup, where we'll actually hook up a special chemical to the fuel line and run the car just on that chemical.
Yeah.
But here's the little trick a lot of them won't tell you. Most times that carbon buildup is because you're using your car for little short trips where you're going just 3 or 4 miles. The car doesn't really get warmed up. It sits for another couple hours, cools down, 3 or 4 miles back. This is when carbon buildup occurs. And the easiest way to solve that is about once a month, take it out on the highway for about a 30, 40, 50-minute drive, an hour's drive at highway speeds. You don't need to race, just normal highway speeds. It builds up the temperature in the oil and in the coolant and in the engine, and all those carbon deposits will break loose and be burned through the engine, and your car will actually be improved just for giving it some exercise.
Absolutely.
It's the best thing.
Ladies, you heard what Rick had to say. You have to really be careful when you go through service. The other question I was asked was about tires, and I've learned a lot from the show, the PSI, how important it is. And unfortunately, when a female or a male goes through the service department, one thing leads to another, as you just explained. They could be sold, they come in, they need pressure in their tires, and they could be led to believe they need a front end alignment. There's so many,
Yeah.
Deceiving suggestions about service that they don't need. So the takeaway from this, ladies, is be real careful when you go through the service department. And by the way, ladies, there are more women who are having their vehicles serviced for themselves, for the family, for their husband. So be very careful. And ladies, don't forget $50, a $50 gift card from Amazon if you called the show this morning. First two female callers, 877-960-9960.
One thing I would just throw in there is there's a phrase that everyone should learn, including the ladies, if you're going into a service department. And that phrase should be, please don't recommend anything that is not in my owner's manual under factory recommended maintenance. And if you don't have your owner's manual, if you misplaced it, you can buy them online. You can buy them from the dealer. There's a lot of ways that you can get that, Rick.
Actually, what you're looking for is the recommended maintenance plan, and you don't have to pay for it anyways. Just find it online and download it right to your phone, and you can reference it anytime that way.
Yeah.
So, the owner's manual is really gold, and it's something, like Earl said, I mean, if you don't have it, if you misplaced it, you can always pull it up online. And that's like the Bible. I would go by exactly what they suggest.
Yeah, I would. I was thinking about a hat or a T-shirt that we could have our customers or all car customers wear when they come into a service department that says, "Only factory recommended maintenance, please."
Great idea. Okay, back to the recovering car dealer.
When Nancy and I were driving in this morning, one of the things we talked about was the Federal Trade Commission, and we kind of feel like the little boy that cried wolf. We kept talking about the last time the Federal Trade Commission got us all hipped up about, oh, good, they're going to solve the problem. Nothing ever happened. And so now we're shouting it out again on the radio. Help is on the way. The Lone Ranger is on the way. The Federal Trade Commission. We have to say that we have reason to believe this time the Lone Ranger really is on the way. And there are a lot of signs out there now that I'm looking at an editorial in the Automotive News, which is the special periodical for car dealers and auto manufacturers, saying basically, hey, the Federal Trade Commission is really calling you to task. You've got to obey the laws, dealers. So help is on the way, but it's not here yet. Until the Lone Ranger and Tonto arrive, you have to take care of yourself. And that means what we're talking about on the show. And that means what Nancy just covered and Rick just covered. When you bring your car in for service, be sure that they don't do anything other than what the owner's manual for your make and model car recommends. And as Rick often says, there are rare exceptions, but those exceptions are very rare. And the service advisor is going to say, well, flushes are an exception. Well, you have to be strong. You have to be strong. And you have to take a little chance every now and then. And the chance I would take is just say, I don't care. If it's not on the owner's manual, I don't want it done. Now you can go home and make a couple phone calls and check with some friends. I mean, you can, but don't argue in the service drive. That service advisor is really a service salesperson. He's very good. He looks honest. He makes his living on commission. So he can probably convince you that even though it's not factory recommended maintenance, you really got to have this flush. I'm begging you, don't do it. Rick?
They're going to tell you all the stories about it's Florida. We have high heat. We have high humidity.
Yeah.
We've got all that sand in the air. We've got the dust from all the construction. We've got mosquitoes. We've got invasive
mosquitoes.
iguanas.
Huge mosquitoes, yeah.
You know, I talked to a lady this past week about her tires. She decided to go into the service department because she was having problems with her tires. She wasn't sure whether she needed air pressure. She wasn't sure what she needed. And guess what? She ended up being talked into buying 4 new tires. At the end of the day, she realizes, after investigating and talking to some other people, which she should have done before she went in to the dealership, she didn't need all 4 of her tires replaced. So we deal with these stories throughout the week, and we love sharing them with you. And that's the reason, ladies, we are giving you a $50 Amazon gift card for the first 2 new lady callers. Give us a call. Share your story with us. If you have one, great. If you don't, call and say hello. 877-960-9960. Earl?
You know, on tires, everybody knows from if they listen to the show that you're absolutely right that car dealers make money on tires. What you might not know is the manufacturer makes money on tires. And in our case, we're a Toyota dealership. Southeast Toyota makes a lot of money on tires. We buy our cars. In fact, all the dealers in the South, all Toyota dealers in the Southeast United States buy their cars through a distributor called Southeast Toyota. Southeast Toyota buys their cars from the Toyota manufacturer. But every month, Southeast Toyota, I get bombarded by emails and text, and Southeast Toyota has always got a special on tires. And I have a parts manager who gets trips to Europe if he sells enough tires. He gets points to buy prizes and catalogs if he sells enough tires. The way he sells enough tires is to buy them from Southeast Toyota. And then the way Southeast Toyota gets enough, it's the trickle-down effect. You're the guy that buys the tire when you don't need it to send my parts manager to Europe or to send price points so he can get a new sweater for his wife. So it's really stacked against you, the car buyer. Rick?
Southeast Toyota also has a program for technicians. Because after all, who's the one looking at your car and telling you this is what you need?
Yep.
There is a whole list of parts that Southeast Toyota sells to the dealers that the technicians get points on.
Yeah.
And the top, 100 techs of Southeast Toyota wind up getting a special cruise each year now. Yeah. If you sell enough of their parts.
Yeah. That's capitalism, folks. There's nothing wrong with that. Dealers are entitled to make a profit.
Well, to a limit. I mean, this behind the scenes that we're sharing with you right now, it's been going on forever. Forever. Is it right? Everyone deserves to make a profit. I love making a profit. But you just simply can't take advantage of that opportunity and abuse the consumer. So this takes me to our speech, our talk, our subject last week and the week before last about the FTC and the fact that there's been a shakeup. And the FTC says the price in the ad should match the price a customer actually pays. And we are all for it. And we would love your opinion. Give us a call toll free at 877-960-9960. Earl, you were about to say?
Well, you just reminded me. That's not what I was about to say. But the FTC also is coming down on dealers who advertise cars they don't have. I mean, you can advertise a car at a price, and you don't have to sell it at that price if you don't have it. And that's another sneaky trick, which I give the Federal Trade Commission credit for figuring out. But we actually, on this show, we laugh about it. It was Greco. Yeah, Greco has a lot of dealerships from New York and Florida, and they're brothers and a father, family group, GRECO. And in South Florida, they've got a half a dozen stores, and they have, or more than that now, probably. And they have they had a Mazda store in Palm Beach County, and they were advertising a particular Mazda at an unbelievably unrealistic price. I was a Mazda dealer at one time, so it caught my attention. And people would come into the Mazda dealership in Palm Beach County, and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that car in stock, but we can sell you this one for a slightly different price." So we were tracking the car. So what Greco was doing, they had one car, and they would advertise it, and then they would move it to another dealership. So it was very clever. They could say, "Yeah, Greco has the car, but it's in Syracuse, but we have one just like it." So it's amazing the ingenuity that car dealers have to rip you off.
Absolutely. It's time for the FTC to just really take hold of all of these problems and these money-making tactics that these car dealers are, putting on the consumer. There's so many behind-the-scenes situations. We don't have time to mention them all. So for the FTC, they're saying that dealers must follow federal law and disclose all required fees. Plain and simple. Rick?
This one's from Quadrajet on YouTube. He says, in automotive news, didn't Lindsay Auto Group agree to pay a $3.1 million penalty and what could be more than $75 million in consumer restitution?
Yes, I read that. Thank you very much for reminding us of that. That's intent right there that they are moving along. So we'll see how strong we got encouraged before. So I want to see something in Florida and some of the other states, because Florida is as bad as you can get. I say South Florida, it's really the whole state. So I want to see the Federal Trade Commission really get, not to bash people, but in the news now is Pam Bondi.
Oh, boy.
Pam Bondi was our state attorney general in Florida, and she did nothing. And she was in power as Florida attorney general for 8 years. Pam Bondi, Trump just fired her.
How many times did we call upon Pam Bondi with no response from her?
She did good at collecting a paycheck, though.
Oh, yeah, she did, yeah. Very good. Never missed one.
I bet she got and I bet she got a few other perks as well.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to, I believe it is Frederick from West Palm Beach. Good morning.
Hey, Fred.
Hello?
Hey, Fred.
No, Chris.
Chris, okay.
Oh,
Fritz.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I have
question.
FRICK, I believe. Might be something wrong with my X screen. Good morning, Chris, and welcome to Earl on Cars. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I have a question for Rick. I own a 2005 Nissan Sentra. About a month ago or so, I got into a minor accident with the car, and the bumper got damaged a little bit. The front end of the hood got bent in just so slightly, and the grill got messed up. And so I took it to a body shop, and they put a new hood on their aftermarket hood because they couldn't find an original, since the car is like a 2005. And I noticed now, since I got back the car and driving it now on the highway, I noticed like the cars have a tendency to drift to the left or drift to the right. And I have to keep, keep steering it, trying to keep it in the middle of the road. I'm thinking maybe the issue is that new slight, that light aftermarket hood they put on there when I'm driving. The wind is kind of, I don't know, hitting on it and making the car drift off to the left or the right. I mean, what do you think? What's your opinion?
Aerodynamics, yeah, that can sometimes have an effect on that. The airflow on the car can cause how it's going to feel. But I would be a little more concerned if it seems to drift to either direction, depending on the road surface in that. What you may actually have on an older car, you might have a steering or suspension component in the front end that's starting to get a little bit worn, and just that looseness is allowing the wheels to shift a little left or right.
Could it be related to the repair you just said?
It is certainly possible. I mean, even in a lower speed impact, something like that, that jolt, that energy transfers through all the front suspension and all the front end of the car. So I would definitely have that inspected, have that front suspension and steering checked out and inspected, by a qualified mechanic to make sure that, if there's something going on there, especially since if it's related, you can simply contact the insurance company and say, hey, this mechanic is saying, yes, this is related, and they can get an adjuster to
Chris,
check
if this happened right after
qualified.
the accident, then I think there'd be very little doubt that it was related, and you could contact your insurance. How long ago did you have the repair done?
About a week ago.
I call my insurance company and tell them that they didn't repair the car right, and you'd like them to fix it because they apparently did something to cause the car to drift, and then take it from there.
Yeah, well, I repaired it on my own. My insurance company was giving me too much of a runaround, but I mean, it had brand new tires on there. I bought tires about about a month and a half ago, and they did an alignment. So I mean, like that was Rick kind of touched on somewhat that I was kind of thinking too. It could be like like the impact transferred energy and damage, like maybe like a suspension part or maybe steering part. I was kind of thinking along those lines also, but I was more thinking it was that hood. But I'll get it inspected like Rick said and, go from there.
Okay.
Because it's kind of weird.
Yeah, you'd rather have the insurance company pay for it than you. So that's the reason I think you should involve them. They to me, they'd have to prove to me it did not. I mean, if I drove a car that drove straight as an arrow and I had an accident and it was repaired and the insurance company paid for it, when I got it back, it pulled to the right, I would make the assumption that it was something that wasn't done right.
And be sure to tell them that you don't feel safe because of it. That the car does not feel safe on those on that highway speeds.
Bingo.
Because that's going to basically, that sort of a statement pushes them into a corner where they have to recognize it and take care of it, because otherwise they're liable for your safety.
Yeah, the word safety, when you're having a dispute with an auto dealer or an auto manufacturer or an insurance company, that's a word that lawyers love to come across, because every businessman knows that the most expensive thing that can happen to him is something that involves a customer's safety. So use the word freely and confirm in writing, and you will get every business person's attention, including insurance companies.
Okay. Good advice. I have one more question, though. It's not involving any car issue or anything. It's about you guys' show. Why don't you guys read the text messages on the air anymore?
What was the question?
We do try to get to them. It just sometimes we get so crowded up with phone calls and everything that it's hard to get to them all. We're only 2 hours on the air.
We're just making excuses. We apologize. We should be checking. We have 3 or 4 people in here, and we should be checking our text messages. And that text number is 772-497-6530. And we apologize, and thank you for calling that to our attention.
And Chris, as a point of reference here, when Stu comes in, he comes in around 9. He reads the texts, and he also reads your anonymous feedback. And Rick is in charge of YouTube.
Rick, you get the text numbers, don't you?
I get the text as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody, and it is not at the beginning of the show that they're read, but just before, just before the mystery shopping report. So I'm not sure how long you tune in, but we do try to get to that. That's an important part of our show. Yeah. Like Earl said, we only have 2 hours, so just
I understand. No, I'm not. I understand. I'm not criticizing. I just wondering. But Rick, he does answer them. But I was just wondering why you guys don't do it on the air anymore. But it's I'm not criticizing. But anyway, it's a great show. And
well, Chris, that's a great idea because I think that we should do more of reading those texts. So we really appreciate your call.
Yeah, it was fun hearing those texts. But anyway, thanks for the advice. Great show and good information. Okay.
Very welcome.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Chris. I really hope that there are more people who are listening right now as to what Chris asked, and that they definitely will become part of the show. If they don't have the, if they don't want to call in, they definitely can text, and that's 772-497-6530. You can always get in touch with Rick. You can always get in touch. You can always text Stu. As I said, he comes in around 9, and he also shares your anonymous feedback with the audience.
And I even if we don't get enough time to answer the texts on the air, to actually read them all on air, I do answer every single text that I see. And I even watch it all the way through the week between shows because I get a lot of texts between the shows with people with questions.
And you know something,
and so I try not to miss them. I try to get them as often as I can.
Yeah, I stand behind Rick because if you have known Rick as long as I've known him, you know right now he speaks the truth. You know, his career that he took on, I'm not sure how it happened at a very young age. He is really a very dedicated mechanic. He's more than a mechanic.
He started at 6 years old.
4.
I want to back up a minute on the text. I think we should endeavor to answer the text sooner, and I think that someone like Chris. He's not going to send a text in at 8:15 in the morning and sit around for 2 hours waiting for us to answer his text. So the people that text us, some of them like Anne Marie, she knows it always comes at the end of the show. But if we're asking people to text us, they're expecting us to answer them probably within 15 minutes. Yeah. And so we should do a better job about monitoring
There is
their
a
text.
slight delay. On all of that.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit.
Yeah.
You talk about behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I tell you, you don't have time for me to go through the behind the scenes of Earl on Cars. And Iggy at this point knows firsthand some of it. And it's a lot of pressure on him that he probably didn't have before. But there's a lot to put together here. Anyway, again, that number is 877-960-9960, and the text number is 772-497-6530. And don't forget, youranonymousfeedback.com. Howard is calling. Thank you for your patience, Howard, and good morning.
Yo, Howard.
Yes.
Good morning,
guys.
Howard.
Yeah. I have a question concerning AM and FM. In New York, they're starting to do away with AM. There's one station there that used to be AM. They switched it to FM. What's happening now with AM, and are they discontinuing?
I think AM is hanging around because it's used for some emergency warnings, and there are certain AM functions that the government uses. Rick?
And I knew very little about this subject, but from back when AM and FM were like almost the only music you had in your car, except the 8-track player, the LP, and the cassette players came along. AM signals travel much greater distances, and FM gets blocked by taller buildings. So AM is still around mainly for that purpose. And as a matter of fact, you would have instances where late at night, early in the morning, a lot of people would report what's called an AM skip, where an AM signal could almost travel the entire width of our nation. So it's one of those radio signals that they can just really send them out and cover a lot of area, but it's the Federal Communications System. They kind of limit how far each station can broadcast, so it's not to blow over all the other stations around them. But yeah, AM is just kind of falling by the wayside, and it's like the idea of having a cassette player in your car. It's just very old now, but they're still going.
Okay. Another question. Actually, a comment. I went in to change my previous New York station, which was 880 to 850. 850 is news. It's a good station. So I went up front and I spoke to one of the guys that check you in. He tried to do it. He couldn't do it. Then I went to the office and where Josh is, and I asked for a tech to do it. He came out. He couldn't do it. Finally, I said, "Wait a second, Travis. Travis has always helped me." I went to Travis. I spoke to Travis. He said, "No, easy peasy." He went in and he changed 800 to 850 immediately. So kudos to Travis, as usual.
Yeah, most young folks don't listen to AM, and it's you're right. It's they're dying out. There's still a lot of AM radio stations left, but the younger generation is going mainly FM.
Yeah, and if they are listening to radio, they're probably streaming it on their phone.
Yeah, true.
And the trick that he was using probably was you set the station to the proper the proper frequency that you want. And then on the preset button, you want to just press it and hold it
beep
for about 3 to 5 seconds, and you should get a responding beep, and that should switch it to that other frequency.
That's exactly what he did. And the others said to me, "Oh, it's an old car, 2017. We don't have the information. We don't know." But Travis is a guy that I mean. From now on, if I have a problem with things like that, I go right to Travis. I bypass everybody else.
Yeah,
well, Travis, and we thank you. That's our dealership for you listeners out there. And Travis is one of our best guys. Thanks for the compliment.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Have a
Thanks,
good
Howard.
holiday. Bye.
Have a great weekend. Our number here is 877-960-9960. You can text us. Everyone out there wants to hear our text number. You realize that, don't you? And let me tell you this before I give you the number. Stu has arrived.
Hello.
And he adds quite a bit to the radio show. 772-497-6530. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Stu, what's on your mind?
Well, I was just thinking about, on the last caller, about the younger service advisors not knowing how to program a radio from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of these videos that you see. I don't know if you see them, but these videos where they give the Gen Alpha, the young kids, they give them an old piece of technology like a computer, and they ask them to turn it on, and they fumble it over like apes with who find a piece of technology. They don't know where the power button on. They're holding a mouse. They don't know what the mouse does. You talking to this thing?
Yeah.
And
it's really funny. I saw USA Today the other day, and somewhere in New York, they're putting, they're trying to hook the younger generation to the older generation, so they put in a payphone.
The hotline, yeah.
And the hotline payphone went to a elderly place where people like me.
It said talk to a boomer.
Right, talk to a boomer, and so that's kind of cute. I mean,
yeah, and the other way was talk to a Zoomer. And so kids were talking to Zoomers, were talking to Boomers, and sharing experience. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you show a 10-year-old kid, a real telephone. What is that?
Yeah, there is a movement. I know we're totally getting off the topic of cars, but it's still technology, which is kind of where we're kind of there. What were you saying there about the hotline thing? Yeah. So there's another one I think in New York that goes directly to I think England or something like that. Like it was like in England, talk to a Yank, talk to a Brit, and they have these things set up all over the world. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest business failures when I was a young man, I went into the payphone business. And
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, I did, seriously.
That's crazy.
One of our late night conversations.
Southeast Communications was the name of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Did that evolve into the cell phone business when you realized that
that's
because you
another
also
show.
went
It
into
did.
cell phone?
I had to fly to Canada to buy payphones, and I brought payphones down here, and I signed them up gas stations with leases, and I put my payphone in, and it was a quarter, and they had to keep my payphone. And I had to get a truck to go around and collect the quarters. You know where that went. So
Wow, a quarter. Boy, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I remember putting a nickel in.
yeah,
I digress. Folks, we're going to get back to the phones, but before we do, 877-960-9960. Ladies, we're waiting to hear from you. $50 gift card from Amazon if you give us a call this morning. We're going to go to Bob, who's been holding from Lake Worth.
hey Bob.
Good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
Are you
Good
calling
morning.
from Lake Park?
Yes. Good morning. Happy Passover and happy Easter to everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stu, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but we were talking last week about the FTC and how they were going to enforce, what you see is what you pay on these advertisements.
Yeah.
And I remember I've been looking at these things for years and years and years, even going all the way back when they were in the Palm Beach Post. And if you read the fine print and you go down all the way at the bottom of the advertisement in the marketing department, it says the dealership is not liable for the accuracy of this ad. They have a disclaimer on there, which they've always used, and they still use it even with the online marketing. They have a disclaimer. So how would that work?
Well, the Federal Trade Commission, you know this, Stu. You answer it.
Well, that's the intent of that is for actual errors without forethought of malice. In other words, there's a typographical error, maybe there's a picture that's not right, but as you know, and obviously it's obvious, it's abused. It's I don't know how it's abused. I don't know if this ever goes to court.
The Federal Trade Commission also says that any variation in the price in the fine print must be displayed conspicuously, as conspicuously as the price advertised. So if you have a large $39.95 price, then the extra $29.95
Can't be hidden.
Can't be hidden. It has to be in the same font, type size as the advertised price. So that blows the fine print out of the water. Fine print is not legal in changing
But
the
I think
price.
what Bob's saying is if they come in and they go, well, that price, that was a mistake. We don't have to honor that.
Yeah.
And it says right here, errors. But that's a lie. And they'd have to lie and go on record of just totally lying to do something like that.
Yeah, they'd have to prove it, but I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know how often this is ever tested. We see them in every ad that's out there. And I'm sure once in a while, a customer comes and starts pointing his finger at it, and somebody comes out and they argue about it. But I don't know how often it makes it into an official setting. It's not enforced.
Here's how bad it is. The manufacturers are doing it. Now, you tell me how General Motors, Toyota, Honda, how are the manufacturers getting away with advertising a lease price or a payment price from them directly and modifying the price in the fine print? It's not just fine print, it's on TV. So who is going to get a microscope or a magnifying glass and run up to their TV set?
Their lawyers green-lighted it somehow.
Yeah.
And probably based on their knowledge of no enforcement.
No enforcement, exactly. Yeah.
Like, you can do this, they're not going to catch you.
All right, I wanted to ask you about, we were talking about AM radio, and we have the emergency broadcast system is on AM. So if we have some type of really serious event, that always comes over the AM stations.
Yes.
So how would, if they get rid of AM, how would that work?
Well, it comes
they're
from a
not.
lot of other places also. So,
Yeah.
But
you
they're
know.
not getting rid of AM, though.
No, I don't think so. No,
Yeah.
there's about as many AM stations today as there ever was, but there's a lot more FM.
Yeah.
So it's they're relatively speaking, they're declining, but an actual number.
And few people would be alerted by an AM alert anyway because no
Yeah.
one's listening to it.
You know, just the old guys.
Yeah, a few people.
The old, us old people. One other thing, I called you last week and told you about the salesman that had gone into the nursing home to make a sale.
Oh yeah,
The person that had dementia.
Yeah.
He did not get fired.
You're kidding me.
They took him and they moved him to another dealership.
Well, sure, he got a reward.
he was probably their top salesman.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah,
But
Let's
I
get
did-
them
I did-
out of the picture for a few months, and then we'll get them back
Right.
in here.
But I did read a story. There was another salesman from a different dealership, a GMC dealership, that went to the senior citizen who had dementia. He went to the person's home, picked him up at his house, drove him back to the dealership, and the next thing you know, he has a $90,000 Denali that he owns.
Oh,
And he's got Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
But this was also in Georgia. Both these dealerships were in Georgia.
and that guy was probably salesman of the month at that dealership. You know, salesmen don't get fired for cheating customers. They get fired for not selling enough cars. So their income and their employment depends on taking advantage of the customers. So that's a good thing in the dealer's eyes. That's a sad fact of life.
Right, but at least in this case, the family was able to get full restitution on
Yeah,
the $90,000 truck.
Yeah.
The other case, the poor widow, she's got the car payments, and all they gave her back were the $3,000 in fees that they charged. So she got stuck. But I wanted to ask you about. I read something about now 1 in 3 people are trading in their cars with negative equity, which is bringing their car payments up to averaging over $900 a month. Do you think this is a function of people that bought their cars
Yes.
during the COVID?
Yes.
When everything had the market
And yes.
adjustments and everything?
Yes, and yes. Yeah. Back after the supply chain problems, just after COVID, I'm explaining this to the rest of the audience. Inventory got scarce. Dealers, manufacturers took advantage of this, and particularly the dealers and started tacking on these ridiculous market adjustments. We're selling them for tens of thousands over MSRP, and people were buying them because they were the only cars around. And so now towards the end of their trading cycle, they're upside down. They have negative equity. They owe more than the car's worth. We're seeing exactly what was predicted.
Well, they roll that into the new loan, though, right?
They
Yeah.
can, or you can come up with cash.
Well, and oftentimes the seller, the dealer, the salesman don't tell you that you're negative equity. The phrase is upside down, and a very high percentage of people buy cars that way. If a person fully realized that they were financing the money that they owed on the car that they had presently, they wouldn't be buying the car. They say, maybe I better make some more payments or pay it off. But they lead you to believe that you have a trade-in value when really they're applying a lot of the smoke and mirrors look like you're not negative equity, and only you know what the payoff.
Or if they're just focusing on a payment.
Yeah.
They do they cook the chicken soup behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And they go, here's your payment. How's that sound? Oh, how about this payment? And they get you thinking off everything.
Yeah.
Does it require you to have a higher credit score if you have negative equity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would they refuse to do that deal if, let's say, you're at like 500 or 550?
They would try to get more money out of you, is what they would do. The bank, based on the score, will only advance so much. Like you can get a 90% loan to value, but that changes based on the credit score. So they're not going to say we're not going to do the deal. They're going to start hitting you up for, can you got a check? You got anybody you can borrow some money from? That watch looks pretty expensive.
Unscrupulous dealers will actually lie to the lender, too. And they'll have a car that's got a strong book value, but only the dealer looks at the car, finds out that the actual wholesale value is $1,000 less than book. So they have to count the car at $1,000 less, but they tell the lender it's worth $1,000 more.
They lie about equipment or trim levels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting. I didn't know that. And so they can actually find someone to underwrite that loan, even though the person
Fraudulently, yeah. And then they get caught later on.
Well, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
This is most common, what we call special finance, and these are lenders that deal in people with bad credit. So a person with bad credit is desperate. If you need a car, sometimes you have to have a car. Think about it. If someone took away a lot of people's cars, what would happen? So it's almost like food. Without a car, you need it to survive. So a desperate person with bad credit goes into a dishonest dealer. The dealer will misrepresent your car to the lender so that he can borrow more money than the lender would normally loan, and they put it all on you. And it's more than you can afford to pay off. So it's a terrible practice, and it's not uncommon, unfortunately.
What do you do at your dealership? Do you have like a baseline where you will tell somebody you can't get them a loan?
Oh, sure. We check the credit, and if they're unable to buy the car, we'll explain that they need more down payment. Typically, down payment.
But this comes usually through a bank. If we do this, we'll submit it to a bank because that gives. There's a lot of regulation when you deny somebody credit. Did you know if you walked onto a lot and you described your situation to a salesperson, and he goes, we're not going to be able to get you approved, and then you get back in your car and leave, you've just that's an official denial of credit in the eyes of the law, and now he needs to get a special letter in the mail. It's all of this is automated through the bank. So what is usually done is it is submitted to a bank to see if it can get approved, and then the bank, if it's going to get declined, will decline it, and they'll get the letter from the bank.
Oh, that's very interesting. So how many different institutions does your dealership work with?
Like a handful, primarily Southeast Toyota Finance. That is our main, and that goes through Southeast Toyota, JM&A, and but then we have some other banks for loans that maybe Southeast Toyota Finance doesn't want to look at.
Now that's Jim Moran, basically.
Yeah,
he does that too. Huh? He does the financing. That's
his company and his family, as it stands now, he's in heaven.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So he's got money coming in from all different directions.
He sure does, Bob. He definitely does. He had his hands in everything. He's very, very much missed.
All right. Well, one other thing I wanted to say before I go. This Terry Tyler that owns all these dealerships, that has all the amount of money. Yeah, I believe he's a member at Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, really? Terry Taylor?
Yeah.
I thought you said Tyler, Perry Tyler.
Terry
Tyler.
Terry Taylor.
I didn't know that.
Perry?
Yeah.
He's a comedian.
Yes, I was going to say Tyler Perry.
Richard Bernstein is a member of Mar-a-Lago, too.
Our old insurance agent.
Bob, thanks so much for the call. Have we answered your questions?
Yes, that's pretty good. That was a good answer. Okay, thank you very much. Have a great week.
Thank you. You do the same.
Thanks, Bob.
It's we went down memory lane there for a moment, changing gears here, so to speak, and you were talking about the article in the New York Times and New York, and the boomers and the silent boomers and all of these different people that were pairing up with the kids. And I just went back in time for a moment, and I said that I used a nickel to make a phone call at a payphone. It was 10 cents. And then, do you remember the operator coming on and saying, you're like 3 minutes or 5 minutes is up,
I do remember
and
this.
You have to deposit
more change.
Even you?
Yeah. That was even when it was 25 and
deposit 25 cents to continue your conversation.
What I'm talking about is from the 40s and 50s.
Oh, no, I wasn't there.
When I was a kid, I used to grind down pennies on my father's emery wheel in the shop, so they were the size of a dime, and I could use them to make a call or buy a Coke.
That was a federal crime.
That's true.
No wonder your parents knew you were going to wind up
I
in
think the
prison.
statute of limitations is up. I'm not sure.
Right.
Yeah. Well, my point is there's something to be said about the silent boomers, and we were born during
That's what you
World
guys are.
War II and the Great Depression, and you and I, Mr. Stewart, bring a lot to the table.
Yep. Are you sure you're a silent boomer?
877-960-9960, and you can also text us at
I do laugh at that.
772-497-6530.
I didn't think that was funny. Rick is going to sneeze, I think.
I'm not going to go anywhere.
Rick,
on
Iggy,
that.
and I are Generation X, and we
you
know when to keep our
it's a
mouths
good
shut.
thing I can't hear, so I didn't hear what Earl's response was.
I said, are you sure you're a silent boomer?
I am not. I am not living up to my reputation.
That's true.
My voice, as I always say, that echoes through wherever we are must be heard. Okay, enough of this funny stuff. Let's go to Jeff. He has been holding, and guess where he's calling from? Palm City.
Ooh,
Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
good.
Good. Love your show. Hey, I lived in
thank
the area
you.
for about 40 years, so I've had the unsavory privilege of dealing in a lot of the dealerships, from Miami to Orlando and Jacksonville. And I ran across something this week. I was shopping for a car for my daughter that I've never really seen before, and I wanted to see if Earl could elaborate on, what a good comeback to the dealership is. We were doing a trade-in, kind of high value, about $70,000 on the trade-in. And I was looking at, the ticker tape, like what the price was, and then the discounted price and the adjusted price, and then they stick all their profit, added things in there. And I noticed that they were giving us $70,000 for the car, but when you go into the trade allowance and you look at the trade allowance, they were actually giving us I think it was $66,000 on that line. And then when you go underneath that, it says, there's a little box that says valuing your trade. Well, what they do is the tax amount of money that you're saving because you don't pay taxes on your trade because you already have, they're telling you that you're saving. That's part of the money that you're saving. So they're saying, really, no, Mr. Customer, we're giving you $70,000 for this because you're saving $4,000 in taxes. To be honest with you, I've dealt with a lot of dealerships, and I mean, over the years, a lot of dealerships. I've never really seen this before. And is that, I mean...
You're saying you haven't seen where they emphasize that you're only paying taxes on the difference?
Right. What they're saying is, well, Mr. Customer, I'm giving you $66,000 actual on the trade-in line being deducted, but you're actually getting $70,000 because you've saved $4,000 in taxes.
That is an accurate statement, because if you're going to sell it any other possible way without buying another vehicle, you would not save that, and you would get a lower amount and without a transaction.
That does get reduced off the amount of the car. So
it gets reduced off the taxes.
Yeah, but what he's saying is they are inflating the.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about any other part of the deal. I'm just saying that if you walked in to sell a car,
But that was his question, I think. Why, we wouldn't do that.
To do what?
If we had a allowance on a car and it was $70,000, we would show a $70,000 allowance on the buyer's order.
Right.
And he's saying that
they're showing more for the savings.
Yes,
that's wrong. No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Right. Which I'm not saving technically. I mean, I'm saving it, but.
Yes. No, it shouldn't be. It should not be itemized as any kind of thing whatsoever.
They only showed them $66,000 is what they appraised it.
Okay, I get it. I'm sorry. My mind drifted away while you were.
I was confused.
No, you weren't confusing. I actually looked at my phone briefly while you were speaking. To be honest,
he dozed off actually.
I've looked at a lot of buy orders in my day, and it's like I just had never seen this before. So I called the sales manager. Because in today's industry, no offense to the car industry, but they got a lot of kids working.
Yeah.
I'm test driving a Tesla Cybertruck, and I asked the girl, said, how many miles does this thing have on it? Because, unless you push a couple buttons, you don't really see the actual mileage.
And she just stared at you.
She just shrugged her shoulders. I'm like, now come on, why are you with me? To make sure I don't steal it? I'm not going to steal it, trust me. But at the end of the day, you're my sales rep, right? You're supposed to.
You know who else does that with the trade-in?
What's that?
You know who else does that with the trade-in? Tesla does. And I don't know if they do it today, but I know that when we first bought your Model S, before your Model S, the Plaid, there was the way they priced it, and they included in the price the net result of the sales tax savings and it wasn't a trade-in thing. It was the tax credit, which may or may not be realized. So they actually posted the price after reflecting a maybe on the tax credit and itemized.
In the past years, they've gone to internet salespeople. I've actually tried to make it a practice to deal with them, negotiate it without having to go in there and waste my entire day.
Yeah.
And negotiate the thing, bring them a check, pay cash for whatever the bottom line is, and be done with it. But I did business. These guys are in Fort Pierce, and I'll tell you, they bring the definition to, the used car business. We teach you right. I mean, these guys were like, it was like a dog and pony show I ain't seen in a long time. But I find it amusing because I'm a salesperson. I'm in sales. I find it interesting, I guess, how they do things. But I got to tell you, as far as telling you the truth, they're far from doing that. And then when you call them on it, because I said to the sales manager, I said, do people really fall for that savings BS? Do they fall for that? Unless you just can't, I don't know, unless you have lived in a cave your entire life, you got to understand that, yeah, you're telling me I'm saving $4,000, but it's not in the numbers. It's like
exactly.
It's like a hypothetical savings. I don't know.
And
But
you're
I've never
talking
seen
about
that
Fort
before. I've never
Pierce,
seen that
right?
before. Yes.
Yeah, Fort Pierce. Boy, you are definitely an interesting caller this morning. Excuse me. And let me ask you this: is this your first electric vehicle you're purchasing?
No, it's my third.
It's your third, okay? Because I have asked our audience, and I'm not sure. I think it might have been last week. How many would purchase an electric vehicle, and mainly because electric vehicle prices have come down a lot, and they are more affordable.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So this is your third vehicle.
I think there's. Listen, look I own a lot of high-end gas guzzling Corvettes and cars and stuff. I'm a petroleum-based person, right? I get that, but I think that there's a place in families today for electric vehicle. I'll give you, for instance, my son goes to a school in Tequesta. My wife drives him there and back, actually 4 trips a day. It makes sense for her to take the Tesla because essentially it costs me about $30 a month to charge.
And excuse me, let me set this up for the audience. You live in Palm City?
Yes.
And so you're driving back and forth, not only you but your wife.
Yes.
And I hope everyone heard Jeff say that it is more affordable to have an electric vehicle.
It is.
For several reasons.
It is. It's like any industry. There's always haters, right? There's always haters. I have business, people I do business with that their wives won't let them charge the Tesla in the garage because it's going to catch on fire. And it's like, okay, well, so will a skateboard my kid has, right, that he's charging. So, you run the risk across an e-bike. I mean, look,
yeah.
That's a 1 in a million.
Your leaf blower.
That's not the norm, right? That's not the norm. That's that has happened, but at the end of the day, the American people, okay, have gotten the shaft for years over petroleum prices. The administration today, he says something, and gas is raised $1 something here recently.
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to spend money, but very hard to make it. So I think if you can find ways to save money for your family, it makes sense. And these cars have become affordable. I mean, I drove the Ford Lightning. I'm a Ford truck fan. I drove the Lightning, great vehicle, but Henry Ford started out, making gas cars. I think their products are good. I just don't know that they're the experts in the EV business, but I think Tesla is. And my experience has been, 100%. And we're just driving the little 3 models. You know what I mean? We're just driving the little Model 3s, but those things are rocket ships. They scoot. They get, they're fast. I drive around, Vero to West Palm. I come home, I put it on the charger, and the next day it's ready to go. So,
Jeff, we gotta wrap it up now. But I want to thank you for your observation, and also say this. For you folks out there like Jeff and Nancy and I that like electric vehicles, the used electric vehicles are coming back now in big numbers on the used car lots. And the reason for that is the tax credits that so many people bought back then, and they are trading these cars in now. So there's a glut of electric vehicles on used car lots. So folks that want to try an EV, now is a good time to shop around, and you can really get a great price on an electric vehicle. Shop and compare, and you will be able to buy a used vehicle for probably 25 or 30% less than you thought.
Absolutely.
And Earl, one last thing, if I may. It's not the only car you should own.
No,
I'm not gonna drive to New York or Texas or someplace and stop and charge my car. I'm not gonna do that.
I hear
but
you.
if you're running around town, less than 250 miles or 250 miles, it certainly does make sense.
And most of us, that's exactly what we do. So, good point.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Great show. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff. Great conversation. Give us a call again. Rick?
Quick point in from Donovan. He says, for the caller, one of Henry Ford's first vehicles was an electric car invented along with Thomas Edison, one of the contributing inventors in that.
Is that right? Wow.
We had electric cars all the way back in the early 1900s.
I didn't know
They
that.
just didn't have the battery capacity to get a real range out of it.
They got a good full 4 blocks.
Yeah.
And they had a long cord.
Yeah,
Exactly.
pretty much, yeah. Well, just think, if Nikola Tesla had his way, we'd all be driving electric cars, and the electricity would just be transmitted through the air to them.
That's right.
So,
Yeah. And
with a big lightning bolt.
Yeah, the
electric
Jetsons.
vehicles wouldn't be such a political statement. Haven't we graduated from that already? I mean, come on. Electric vehicles, it's just such a smart decision, and especially now that they're making them as affordable as they are. It's a win-win situation. Okay, folks, we are going to go to Sam, who's calling us from Sunrise. Good morning, Sam.
Yes, hi, good morning to you.
Thank you for waiting.
Oh, great. I always like to listen to your show, and I was calling to mention something about when these presidents and other senators and stuff get out of office, they pass bills that they were already paid to change, so they're no longer connected with the thing they're passing. So I'll give you an example, and you could check on this yourself. A recent president in 2014 changed the labeling on anything that has list of ingredients. So the top ingredient used to be the main ingredient, and then the next one in descending order would be less and less and less of that particular item. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So what he did is he changes so the top one could be the one with the least ingredient, like it could be meat and cat food, and it's like maybe almost zero meat. But the label will read meat first, and then whatever else, and then the corn, and the corn might be the most amount as a filler in a cat and dog food, but the meat part now is on top because it's been changed by this person in 2014, right before he left office.
Wow.
And that's not right. And the other thing he passed as legal is now that they're allowed to put cell phone towers like these 5Gs because they're not very big. And if you notice bus stops, you'll notice it looks like a pole, and the top end of it looks almost like, if you imagine the big cigarette ending on the end, anywhere from like 30, 40 feet tall, and the end looks like a cigarette ash, kind of. You know, like a mesh thing, and a gray color, and the rest of the pole looks like a cigarette. It could be a different color, though. It could be brown or something, you know?
Yeah.
And those 5G phones, and the other giveaway is you see a meter on the pole. If you look at the pole and you go, is that a 5G? You see some kind of a meter, and then on top that funny-looking grill-looking thing, and that's a 5G. Anyway, he passed that it was okay for the government to put those in your backyard.
Well, Sam, there's only one group of people that score as low on the Gallup poll of honesty and ethics in the professions, and those are politicians. Car dealers and politicians fight for last place on honesty and ethics. So we agree with you totally. Thanks for the call, Sam.
Okay, you're welcome. That's true. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, Sam. Have a great weekend. Okay, that's it on the calls. Let's, I think that we should talk about the texts and Facebook and your anonymous feedback.
Well, I've got Anne-Marie's ready to go. She says, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie.
There was a recent accident in the news showing a Range Rover SUV, or SV, on its side in the middle of the road. I hope the driver will be all right. I'm focused on the physics of accidents where a driver suddenly swerves a vehicle with a high center of gravity and the vehicle topples on its side or even rolls over. Number one, what kind of damage to the vehicle is likely to result if one tips such a vehicle over on its side? Would it be cosmetic, like dents and scraped paint, or could there be other damage to the vehicle? And how high can a vehicle get before it becomes easier to tip? Thanks.
Great question.
Yeah, in this case, to make it real simple, it's not so much the actual height of the vehicle, but where the main weight is in the vehicle. And SUVs that are raised up to where the center of gravity is up higher than like normal passenger cars that sit low, sedans, that's where you get that weight that can flip the car over. Now, as for actually seeing SUVs in that roll in accidents, my best would go on YouTube.
Is she talking about Tiger Woods?
That's a perfect case right there.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
All right, Anne-Marie. We saw through your ruse.
Yeah. But go on YouTube and look for dash cam videos and watch some of those for the number of accidents where you will see even a small SUV gets just the right impact and they roll over so easily.
But Rick, I understand you talking about the logistics of this vehicle, but speed
is a huge factor.
Yes,
because
Earl.
the inertia of it.
Range Rover Tiger was driving was $230,000 that cost him.
Holy mackerel!
And the estimated damage is $30,000 to $80,000.
Yeah,
they're not totaling it,
which is not bad.
It's not being totaled.
No.
Well, I don't know. It could be. There's other factors they could.
Right, but in cases like that, also when they go on the side or something, the structural damage that can occur can be quite serious for the repairs.
Yeah.
But the nice part is that the structural body of these cars now, the modern cars, are much safer for the passengers. So you've got a much higher chance of walking away with that injury. Yeah. I mean, Tiger Woods basically walked away
got
from
out
the
of the
car.
phone, called Donald Trump, and then got in the car.
How do the Range Rovers do? Somebody ChatGPT this. How do they score on the safety test, NHTSA? In other words, are they considered safe vehicles? I don't like the looks of a lot of these Range Rovers and certain other vehicles. They look too tall.
Oh, I think
even a Land Cruiser.
Some of them, yeah, I know you're talking. Some of them look pretty spiffy to me.
They look good.
Yeah.
When I say I don't like them, I like the looks of them. But to me, they do look top heavy.
Yeah.
And that was Marie's point.
This changes if you have electric ones. If they put the battery down there, and then you got these bottom heavy vehicles.
5-star safety rating from Euro NCAP on the Range Rover and Range Rover Sport. Achieved a 84% rating for adult occupants, 87% for child, and 72% for vulnerable road users.
Yeah, and of course there's a big difference between safety of the passenger and the car being total. But as Stu said, if you have to spend $80,000 on a $230,000 car, that's not.
And we talked a couple of weeks
total.
ago, and Rick, he had the answer. We were asking our audience what it costs to fix the bumper of this vehicle. What?
That was that. Wasn't
Bugatti
it the Bugatti
or-
Veyron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was what?
Bugatti Veyron.
I called it a
Yep.
Bugatti.
Bugatti.
A Bugatti.
Hey, that's what it,
Well,
that's what it
forget
looks
about
like.
it.
Yeah, Bugatti.
Let's bear in mind one important factor. Cars are a material object that can be replaced. Humans, our bodies are pretty fragile, and when you get busted up, or God forbid, if you die in an accident, that's it. So, folks, let's just be thankful that these cars are so much safer than they have been throughout history.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good point.
I mean, he rolled the car over and he got out and walked away uninjured.
You know, we still
He
encounter.
walked
we
down the
still
road to make a phone call,
Yeah.
as Stu pointed out.
to a very special friend.
Yeah.
We still see customers coming in looking for and it's an economic decision, and it still breaks my heart, are looking for the oldest, junkiest cars for their kids' first cars because it's an economic decision.
Yeah.
And the safety features that, basically, if you go back like 2017, wouldn't you say, Rick, when would you like the point where it just became standard equipment pretty much? You can't get a car after 2018 without like all the good stuff. 2020.
I actually would go back as far as maybe 15 for a lot of the structural and airbag safety components.
Yeah.
But integrated with having like
the active safety stuff.
All the active distance control, reading the cars around you,
keeping you from driving out of your
collision
lane,
avoidance,
all that stuff.
lane trade. Yeah, all that started really around 17 and became much more standardized by 20 and 21. And now any new car that you buy in the last 4 to 5 years is going to have all of those factors included in it.
Well, the good news is down the road, eventually every used car is going to have everything.
Many years ago, and I don't like to be a Toyota commercial, Toyota came up with a great idea of the Scion. And the Scion was supposed to be a cheap new car for a person's first car, for a 16, 17-year-old kid.
Yeah, it had great woofers and tweeters.
It was a great car for safety, and it went flat.
Very fast.
Partly because kids didn't like the looks of it, probably, but also because the dealer screwed it up,
ruined it
by trying to sell it for far more than it was actually. We were supposed to make a $500 profit on the Scion that was sold by the Toyota dealers, and if you sold it at MSRP, the dealer would make $500. So the dealers were putting $1,000 dealer fees on and
market adjustments.
It was such an elaborate situation at the time. I mean, the dealership had a special department for Scion. The sound system, they made a huge deal about that. But it was a little bread box.
But I will say one thing. The Scion XB, the original one, for a guy, which I'm big, I'm fluffy, I'm fat, and I'm 6 feet tall.
You say you're fluffy?
I am. But I could sit in the front seat or the back seat of a Scion XB quite comfortably with good legroom, good headroom, and it was an economical 4-cylinder Toyota that there are still thousands of them on the road today.
Really?
That original Scion XB to me was probably one of the best cars out there, and even like Mark H. is saying here, senior citizens loved the Scions again because they were relatively inexpensive. They were incredible quality and reliability. And like the XB, again, very easy to drive with great visibility all around you and comfortable to get in and out of.
Let me end the Scion story.
They did have great visibility.
Let me end the Scion story with this interesting tidbit. The guy that I won't say invented, but the guy that was leading the Scion was a guy named Jim Farley. And the guy was, Nancy and I knew him because we were on trips and we talked to him personally. We may have had lunch with him. I think we had a Philly cheesesteak sandwich with him. But he was a great guy, and he foresaw the future. He understood what's good about selling cars and what was bad. Long story short, because of the dealers, I like to think the Scion failed. And when Scion failed, he messed around Toyota a little longer and moved to Ford. And I just saw in the automotive news that he got a raise. Jim Farley is now making $80 million a year. So he figured out.
Jim Farley, the guy you and I talked
good
about,
cars,
that we've spent time with.
Yeah.
You said 80.
80 million.
Okay.
80 million.
I'm not going to correct you, but
Okay.
no, I'm not sure of.
Please correct me. I might.
I was looking for your text message from this morning
Yeah.
because we were talking about he's definitely been on a journey, that's for sure,
Yeah.
and he has definitely climbed the ladder.
Yeah.
But right now, as you and I said, it's all about profit for him, where it wasn't before.
Yeah.
But the 80 million part, I'm not real sure of.
Yeah.
The pressure's on.
My phone is
He's got it. He's
drawing a blank here, so anyway,
Okay.
continue. How about Scott Painter? Scott Painter.
Yeah, well, what's
Another
up?
one of your-
It's 20 minutes to 10. Do you want to do the mystery shopping report?
I'm leaving. I got to go get coffee.
yeah. We'll
No.
get back to that later.
We'll get back to that interesting story later. We are going to go to our mystery shopping report, which is Johnson Honda of Stuart. That's Johnson Honda of Stuart. And if you would like to vote on the mystery shopping report, please text us your grade at 772-497-6530. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
And for you folks around the country, Stuart, Florida, is in southeast Florida on the coast, and it's about 100 miles, maybe 150 miles north of Miami. It's still a South Florida store. No relation, by the way, spelled S-T-U-A-R-T. Speaking as if I were Agent Lightning, our crack undercover agent, mystery shopper. I arrived mid-afternoon and was greeted on the lot by Aiden, pronounced like Hayden.
Yeah.
And Aiden, while I was looking around, I told him I was interested in the Accord hybrid and asked whether it was a plug-in hybrid. He explained that none of their hybrids are plug-ins. Standing next to an Accord, I told him I'd like to get a price on this one, a new 2026 Accord Hybrid Sport with an MSRP of $35,445. That's pretty reasonable. I mean, that's not bad at all. Aiden said, let me know that they had a very similar model that had been used as a service loaner and had only 4,500 miles on it. And that's a good buy if you can get it at the right price. Asked whether I'd be interested. I said, not really. He liked the pre-owned option because of the deals they were sometimes able to offer on those vehicles. So I told him I would be interested in seeing the pricing for that one as well. So 3 alternatives to take a look at. Aiden excused himself, went to get the keys while I waited by the car. A few minutes later, he returned with the keys. This one was a 2025 model. It had a used car buyer's guide sticker and a Honda certified pre-owned price sticker. But there was no price where the price was supposed to be. Of course, in a used car, there's no, well, there is. There's a different law with used cars in Florida, and I can't speak for all the states. If you don't have a price on a car, then you have to have a sticker indicating what, Stu, I can't remember, with the no price on the car.
No, I think you're talking about the warranty thing.
Warranty thing.
Yeah,
warranty
on
thing.
the used car buyer's guide.
There should be one on all used cars.
Yeah, and it either indicates whether it's as is, which most are because they rely on the factory warranty.
So if they had no sticker on there, then
Violation.
that's a violation. We started up and went for a drive. Once we got back to the dealership, we headed inside so we could work up a price. He was very informative about the hybrid Accords and went over many of the features with me while we were out to test drive. We sat down at a desk. Aiden confirmed that my address was still the same as I was already in their system. And as an aside, Agent Lightning has done so much shopping around that she's actually in the computer because she's been in these stores before, but they never bust her. So that's very cool.
Yeah.
I guess that has more to say about the turnover of salespeople. You know, probably if she hit the same salesperson, she'd get busted. But
We used to tease it. She had a bulletproof vest that
Yeah.
she had to wear. Now she doesn't need it.
No, I think it's just a matter of priorities. Like, these dealers have a lot of problems, and she's probably not the worst.
yeah, you're right.
Good point.
Aiden told me he had only been there a few months. Like I say, that's typical. Car salespeople don't last long. And was still waiting for a desk. Didn't even have a desk.
A desk of his own.
Yeah,
One day.
my own desk. I told him I thought he was doing a great job, and I never would have guessed he had only been there a short time. He excused himself to speak with the sales manager. About 5 minutes later, Aiden returned with an iPad showing the pricing information. The top line selling price was $29,403. They added a $1,499 recon fee, $200 electronic filing fee, and an $899 doc fee. How creative! We could call them all junk fees. Top line selling price was $29,000. Where am I? Oh yeah, that total $2,600 in junk, which made the real price $32,003. Nearly the MSRP of the new model that we're trying to save money on with no miles. So that would be $34,400 out the door. Hayden told me his sales manager had been occupied with something else. Seemed to be in a hurry when getting him the numbers. He said he thought that might be why the reconditioning or recon fee was so high as it was. He added that he might be able to get that down a little bit, and then he asked me what I would like the out-the-door price to be. And as Stu observed, that's pretty sophisticated for a guy that's only been there a couple of weeks, because that's the routine, you know. We call it back and forth. Let me talk to my manager, and they go outside.
If I could, would you?
If I could, would you? That's what I was trying to think of.
Well, he may have been new there, but he might have been at a dozen other dealerships and be a veteran.
Good point. I told him, honestly, something closer to 30,000. He made a slight face, said he was not sure that he would be able to do that, but they'd be willing to speak with his sales manager on my behalf.
He's not a green pea.
I'm on your side, yeah, that's true. He's definitely not a green pea. To see whether they could make a deal that day.
He wouldn't have made a slight face. Yes, that was that hit him right there.
Yeah, right. Very, very sharp.
Yeah, he knew what that meant. He meant he had an uphill climb.
He added that it might take him a little while because the manager was working with someone else. I thanked him for trying and told him I'd have to get going. If I decided I'm going to move forward, I'd wait a little longer. I couldn't wait any longer. I thanked him for his time that day and left. So there you have it. I got a bunch of pictures that Agent Lightning always takes. Got the window stickers and the car, the dealership, and we have a vote here from ChatGPT, which I'll reveal later, and you can phone them in.
Yeah, you can text us at
Or text us. You can't phone it.
772-497-6530.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. How do you want to vote on Johnson Honda of Stuart?
Let me think. This presenting the numbers on an iPad is diabolical. I mean, it's like, can I have a copy of that? Nope. Boom. Just push one button and it's gone.
Yep.
But Agent Lightning is fast, and she has a picture, which I'm sure Iggy has on the screen. This is not going to mean anything.
On the other hand, you could just say, could you please text that to me?
Yeah, I can't. Sorry, this iPad does not text.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. We can't. Well, that's just. I'm speculating. This is not as bad as that last shop that we did, the one in Orlando. Who was that?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, that was really bad. I think we gave them Fs or Ds. We gave them Ds.
Yeah.
This one, gosh, we're seeing. This is evidence of this new trend that we're seeing. The recon fee. It's a new kind of junk fee. It's the same thing. It's just got a new name, and they're getting big. And we've had direct feedback from customers at our dealership describing, sometimes 4, 5, 6,000 in these various these fees that we see out there. So they're not as bad as it can get. So, but this is still worse. I'm going to give them it's the same thing, a D plus or a C minus. D plus sounds worse. I'll give them a D plus.
Yeah.
Okay. I've got Tim Gilliland says, hey, Johnson Honda, recon this, D minus. Johnny Z. Fradley says, not too bad. I'll give a recon grade of C minus. Tom Steckel, solid D. Recon fee is a red flag. $2,600 in taxable junk fees and inability to respond with a counteroffer. Glad she walked away. Scotty Florida says, D, high junk fees. Over here, we've got South Florida Two-Step says D+, $2K more for a brand new car versus a used car. Fees brought the grade down a lot. Seems like a typical salesman tactics. Negan says big F to many fees on used. Too many fees on the used car. Bob from Maryland says recon fee is way excessive and greedy, plus the other fees. It's an F. Stay away. And Roadrunner Steve maybe says a D.
D.
Let's see if we got any more coming in here. For me, it almost seemed like a bait and switch feel the way he kind of slid her towards the used car, and then and I know it's a loaner, but still,
right.
It's a used car. There should have been a nice drop for depreciation, and instead they...
Right. And you know what? The comments of whether this guy was a pro or a green pea, as he claimed to be, the first thing he said to her was switch her to the higher grossing car. I mean, that's the first thing he did. Don't even look at this new car over here that he's going to get a flat on.
And how much reconditioning does a 4,500-mile car need? Really,
doesn't.
The tires should barely still have the little nipple pieces worn off.
Yeah, the airbag tag is still hanging on the glove.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I'm going D plus because I just think this guy, he may have been new there, but he was a pro. He knew what he was doing, and he was slipping her right towards the car that he's going to get a nice big commission on, and he's trying to push that one
That happened
out.
in the first paragraph of the mystery shopping report.
Yep. And Cram1624 says, F, recon what? Greedy. And we've got Pilgrim Florida says D. So that's what we've got there for YouTube and texting.
Well, Rick, I agree with you. Aiden was good. But for me, it's always about, well, not all of it. There's a lot of pieces of the puzzle. But let me tell you, junk fees, call them whatever you want. A Johnson Honda, they get an F from me. Ridiculous. Taking advantage of the consumer. And boy, oh boy, do I hope the FTC, this new administration, I hope things go well and we get, well, a leash on these guys that are trying to take advantage of the consumer.
Stu, what's that website again for?
It's ftc.gov.
Yeah.
And if you go there, it's right on the first page.
Yeah.
File a complaint.
ftc.gov.
That's right.
Jot that down, ladies and gentlemen.
And
we need your help.
Oops, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Anne-Marie says D.
D from Anne-Marie. D.
Well, it's funny. We had a consensus because ChatGPT gave it a D also.
Really?
Did
Yeah.
they?
And so I think this whole thing, we need to do something. We'll think about this, maybe announce it next week, to reward people to complain to the FTC.
Yes.
Because if we can say that 100 people complain to the FTC,
Just in this market.
and in this market,
Well, everywhere, but it'd be good if it's concentrated. But
FTC.gov. So if you had a bad experience, we could do it with a mystery shopping report, but I don't think it would have the weight because we're not the consumer. But if you are the consumer and you are taken advantage of, we would love to have you do ftc.gov. We'll come up with a
incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
idea.
a great word, an incentive, because, folks, we need your help. We definitely can't do this alone.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll just pay you.
Yeah. How about this?
Okay.
How about this? Let's
Barbecue.
do $100.
Well, let's. I mean, sure.
$100.
You're the boss.
$100 for the first 5.
Okay.
$100 for the copy of the first 5 FTC complaints
Yeah, you gotta
if
print
you
out.
actually went in to buy a car.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you, folks, and that's ftc.org.
Gov.
I keep saying org.
That's okay. There's a lot
FTC.
of orgs out there, but this is the government.
.gov.
Yeah.
Okay, ftc.gov.
Here comes the gov.
Hey,
Here
real
comes
quick
the gov.
about you mentioning what's his name, Jim Farley.
Yeah.
Let's put things in perspective as to what you said about him, and we knew him for a long time. Okay, his pay is 296 times the average Ford employee. It's 295 times the average Ford employee. So the typical Ford worker, he makes about $90,000 a year. So Jim Farley has made it to the top.
How much is he making?
Jim Farley, well, you mentioned
80 million.
90, I think, didn't you say?
80.
80. Yeah.
80, okay. Ford CEO Jim Farley made about $27 million last year. But I think that what you might have been referring to is not only what he made, but his stock interest, plus so many other things
Total compensation.
that would probably be $100 million. Yes.
Oh, how does that stack up with other CEOs? I mean, what's the multiplier like? What's the average CEO in America making over? Is it 295 or is it less than that, or how does?
Only Chad knows.
That's true. I no one knows, but Chad knows.
Okay, so you're looking for what Tesla, GM.
Well, Tesla's an outlier. I mean, he's definitely making a lot. Elon's definitely making a lot more than 295 as average worker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Based on
definitely.
his compensation.
But Jim
package.
Farley, 27 to 28 million. Mary Barra, General Motors, 29 to 30 million. This is per year. These are the CEOs. Elon Musk, often 0. That's what it says here.
He didn't make any money. Well, he gets stocks. Well, 1 trillion. Yeah, no salary. Yeah, I guess that's what that is.
Okay. Anyway, that's all I got. What do we have left, Iggy?
Hey,
3 minutes.
From YouTube here, Tom Seckel says a dealership called Holler Honda.
Holla!
Holle.
It's the
Holler
Passover.
Honda adds $600 for floor mats.
Holla!
Those floor mats had better be polishing my shoes.
Well, I wouldn't put my feet on a
You could
$600
order
format.
my French toast. French
Oh,
toast.
folks,
Holler.
yeah. Tell them take
It's
those
very
floor
good.
mats
I know,
out,
happy
and I'll just
Passover.
buy a set of WeatherTech and put in there. I'm happy. No.
$600 floor mat.
$600 floor
Well,
mats.
let's just because they say it's $600 doesn't mean it's only a $600 floor mat if someone pays $600.
Right, it's a
Do you
$60
realize
floor
we
mat.
have
They're
8
charging
million
$600.
people out here listening to you guys?
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
It's a thrill.
Yeah.
But isn't this what we're here for? Is to help expose some of this, to let folks know, hey,
We haven't been on the air for the last 5 minutes.
tell them take those floor mats out. Take that off the bill.
Okay, I think I need a pay raise. I want to be a CEO.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
Chief
Stu said okay.
Chief Excellence Officer.
South Florida Two-Step says Google says 17.3 million is the average automotive CEO salary.
Okay, so Jim's just a little bit to the right of the bell curve.
Yeah, but still 17.3 million annually. Wow.
Yeah, for sure. Huh. I'll say wow wow. Or no, Wawa. You wanted to go to Wawa, didn't you,
On the way home?
Earl?
Wawa.
You wanted to go to
Wawa,
Wawa.
yeah.
You keep talking.
Wawas have
Keeps
chargers
talking about going to
for
Wawa.
Teslas.
We never get
Yep.
there, but he talks about it.
They do.
Okay, folks.
Better to go to Costco and get a hot dog.
There you go.
Any
I hope
hot
that you had a great time listening to our show this morning, and happy Easter, Passover to all of you. And as I always say, you make the show. Tune in here next week at the same time on the Oldies channel, and we'll be right here at 8 a.m. That's 95.9 and 106.9 FM, and that's on Saturdays at 8 a.m. So stay tuned next week. Have a great weekend.